this is the fun bit. Fill up the courgette flowers, put the nozzle in, starts to open up.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
Now we're going to start the sauce. How do you say it?
Sauce.
Thank you very much. The first step is the pomegranates with some sugar and some water. Put it on the stove, bring it to the boil. So I'm going to strain the seeds off, and we've got a wonderful, lovely pomegranate syrup. That's the first bit. Put that back onto the stove. Bit of booze. Bit of rose water. And drop in a few raspberries. And take it off the heat. It's my sauce. And now to batter and then deep fry these beautiful little things. Corn flour around the outside of them so that the batter sticks. Just gently hold it for a second, and then it floats. They don't need to be fried for very long.
That's a couple of minutes in there, John.
That is it. Now, shake them really gently. And now to dress the plate. Raspberry syrup and sauce.
Oh, look.
And there you go.
That is nothing short of heavenly. Look at that.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Wallace.
Look at that.
Sweet-filled courgette flowers, saffron custard, a rosewater, raspberry and pomegranate sauce.
You especially want them to pick out the rosewater and the saffron, don't you?
I do, yeah, absolutely.
Let's get them in.
Welcome back. This is the palate test. I've cooked you something to eat. We're going to give you a few minutes to taste it and then to write down what you think is in it. At the end of this test, we're going to be losing 2 of you. Over to you.
It's a very interesting challenge. There are some tastes in there that I know what they are, but I can't quite put my finger on them right now.
Yeah, the dish is nice. There's lots of complexity going on in it, and I'm quietly confident that I know a fair amount of it.
I'm in two minds about a couple of things, because I know I recognise the taste, but just trying to get my brain to connect to get the words to come out is a bit challenging at the moment.
There's possibly something in the sauce that I haven't got, but I don't want to just write down ingredients for the sake of it, so I'm going to stick with what I definitely know is in there.
The sauce is probably the one that's getting to me. I'm sure there's something in there alcohol-wise, but I just can't get it. Be interesting when the results are revealed.
Now you've tasted it, we want you to make it. Underneath that sheet are all the ingredients that went into making this dish and some others that didn't.
50 minutes. Let's cook.
The ingredients have been separated into groups. Those to make the courgettes, the batter, the syrup, and the creme patisserie. But with no recipe, they'll have to rely on their palate and skill.
Dale obviously cooks quite a lot, and on his list he's identifying ingredients, but he's not identifying flavours.
There's no saffron gone into his custard, and he is beating that custard, hoping it's going to thicken, and of course it won't unless he gets some flour and corn flour in there.
A little bit difficult without a recipe. Getting there. Not overly confident.
I'm impressed by Emily because I don't think she really knows how to make this dish, but she's working it out as she goes.
She's picked up all the little flavours, all the little bits and pieces that are sitting in the dish. Saffron, rosewater,
I am pretty confident that I have identified the right ingredients. The filling tastes almost the same as the one that was made earlier.
Claire, our sweet tooth contestant, has actually made a very good and extensive list.
She has got a really good palate. It's whether now Claire can reconstruct the dish and make it look beautiful.
I think the sauces worry me more than anything else at the moment. Yeah.
By the list, I can tell that Sarah's a technical cook. She's somebody who breaks down processes. But there's nothing about the real flavours in there.
This is pretty tough, yeah. Taste of custard seems okay, so I'm just going to crack on and hopefully it'll come together at the end.
25 minutes gone. You're halfway.
Dale and Sarah have stuffed their courgette flowers, but have missed the key flavouring of saffron. Rowan's managed to get his courgette flowers into the hot fryer, but he's forgotten something important.
You didn't put it in the batter. Never mind.
Well, they should be tasted with a bit of sauce.
Yeah, not concentrating at all. Never mind. Star.
Mess those up,
I know.
you just walk out yourself.
That's it. I'm off.
Just 2 minutes left. 2 minutes, finish off. That's it, time's up. So the dish I cooked for you was stuffed courgette flowers with saffron, with a raspberry, pomegranate and rosewater sauce. Emily, let's start with you. The saffron in that custard is really rich. The texture of the custard is not quite right, but the flavours are good. The rosewater at the background, the pomegranate is sweet and sticky. It's really, really nicely done.
I like the courgette with the cream inside. I think that's crispy. It's got a flavour of saffron. I think that's lovely.
I was able to detect quite a few of the ingredients, but then I wasn't quite sure how they were all going to come together towards the end, but somehow I made it work.
Claire, you're next. I like the clean, crisp lines you've got, Claire, but that sauce is too in your face against the wonderful pale glossiness of those courgette flowers.
This batter needs to be darker. We need a bit of cinnamon on there.
I did put a little bit in.
Ah, OK. Well, then it needs a little bit more cooking.
More.
Greg is right. It needs to go a little bit further to give you the texture so the whole thing holds up. It's just becoming a bit textureless.
I've tried really hard, and I think that I have shown that I've got some skills, and I'm just hoping it's going to be enough.
Rowan. The courgette flowers aren't cooked enough. They've gone a bit greasy, and they taste like a deep fry. Your first attempt, Rowan, with your courgette flowers was a disaster. So we gave you 2 more. Still not quite right.
It's not really what we were aiming for.
I think I've shown John and Greg I've got a terrible palate. It didn't go as planned, but I've learnt a lot.
You're next, Dale. I like your courgette with your vanilla custard and your pistachios. I really like it. But you've missed the flavour of saffron completely.
That batter is really well made, very crispy and taken to the edge where it's really starting to go lovely and flaky and crinkly. I like the creaminess of your custard with those pistachio nuts to it. That is a great flavour, and I really like the stickiness of the syrup underneath.
With what was presented, I'm happy that I've done what I was capable of doing today.
Sarah, you're one.
So I like your sauce, wonderful and sticky. The texture of your flowers, fantastic. The filling itself, no saffron, nowhere near enough sugar, so much egg in it. You've now got a filling of omelette.
Really lovely texture on your courgette flour, really, really crispy. Your sauce is really, really good. We are a good filling away from a very, very good dish.
I'm just absolutely kicking myself because it was the custard that let me down, and I knew, even when I was making it, that something wasn't right about it. I just kept kind of going on, but never mind.
We've watched your work, we've tasted your food. We've now got to decide who stays and who goes. Thank you. Off you go, guys. Thank you very much. Emily has a natural cook's brain. She has no idea what that dish is and just worked it out from tearing it apart and tasting it.
And it was good.
It was pretty decent.
She's a rough diamond. She doesn't have a lot of skill right now, but I've got to say, the flavours she gets in food is just amazing. For me, as one person had two quite bad rounds.
Does his name begin with Rowan?
It begins with Rowan. 2 lots of courgette flowers, still not right.
The concept of Rowan's dish was fine this morning, but it was just error-strewn, wasn't it? The fish was overcooked, the skin was still on it, there wasn't any seasoning in the potatoes. John, he had so many mistakes. And then he comes in, he needs a strong round, and he's the only one in the room that managed to have exploding courgette flowers.
Now, Claire's first round, I know that we liked the concept of the dish. Both of us said it was too sweet. It was flat as a tack. It had no dimension to it. Then Claire comes in. There's no texture to a dish once again. Does that not put her in a pretty vulnerable spot?
This palate test, she identified the saffron. She managed to make a decent textured filling for her courgette flowers.
My problem is she needs to have some texture in the food. Dale's food looks great, but it just fails on deliciousness. And good food's addictive. You want to just keep on eating more and more and more of it. And you have one mouthful of Dale's food and think, I'm done.
I actually like the courgette flour that he's made today. But he's not the finished article.
It's the same for Sarah. You can see she's got technique. She understands how things are put together, but the delivery and the actual sort of finishing of the dish, she doesn't quite push it far enough.
Her courgette flour here in the palate test is really, really well cooked. Her sauce is great, yet her filling is wrong. You know, she's almost, but, you know, is almost there enough for MasterChef? I don't know.